So we've showed you that this guy, Dr. Fauci, you know, the guy who's in charge of the thing, and everybody loves him because he corrects Trump once in a while about the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. So we showed you how he's an abject liar, and he's the worst guy to be in charge of this. And we're the only one reporting it like this, but now other people are starting to. So that's good to see. Why do I say, well, so he first lied about that you shouldn't wear masks. People forget that. He first said, don't wear a mask. And he knew when he said that you should. So we're going to get to that at the end. But here's his latest lie. I'm going to show you the latest lie. So how much herd immunity is enough? Scientists initially estimated that 60 to 70% of the population needed to acquire resistance to the coronavirus to banish it. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci and others are quietly shifting that number upward. What? In the pandemic's early days, Dr. Fauci cited the same 60 to 70% estimate that most experts did. About a month ago, he began saying 70 to 75% in television interviews. What? And last week in an interview with CNBC News, Fauci said 75, 80, 85% and 75 to 80 plus. In a telephone interview, Dr. Fauci acknowledged that he had slowly but deliberately been moving the goalposts. What? Has he been lying to us all along? He is doing so, he said, on his gut feeling that the country is finally ready to hear what he really thinks. So what he's saying is, I've been lying all along, knowing that's not true. When I said 60 to 70%, I was lying. I knew I was lying. And I was just waiting for the right moment to tell the truth. In an interview, he started out by saying 60 to 70. Then he does an interview. He says 70 to 80 to 85 to 80 plus. Could you imagine if this guy was your professor and he graded on a curve? Hey, we're going to, a 60's a B, maybe 70, maybe 80. Wait, maybe probably more than that. He said, and he's doing this on his gut feeling that the country is finally ready to hear what he really thinks. Dude, you're one of the most looked to figures in the world on science and medicine, and you're just playing mind games with us? So when someone asks you a scientific question, you first start thinking about what that person can handle, what the truth is, but how much of it you're going to tell them and what they want to hear. That all factors into your scientific answer? Yes. Hard as it may be to hear, Fauci said, he believes that it may take close to 90% immunity to bring the virus to a halt, almost as much as needed to stop a measles outbreak. Well, why wouldn't you just tell us that? So why wouldn't you tell us the truth? Why did you lie to us for 9 months? Dr. Fauci, Trump is supposed to be the guy lying to us about science. It's been Dr. Fauci at the start, in the middle, and right now. He's a pathological liar. And he's just telling you he knows he's doing it as he's doing it. You want to hear him? Here he is.
Let's talk about some of the solutions in terms of coronavirus. You acknowledged to the New York Times that you've moved the goalposts in terms of what it would take to reach so-called herd immunity in the United States. Here's what you said. You said when polls said only about half of all Americans would take a vaccine, I was saying herd immunity would take 70 to 75%. Then when newer surveys said 60% or more would take it, I thought I can nudge this up a bit. So I went to 80, 85. And then you go on to say that it may be as high as 90%. So my question is, why weren't you straight with the American people about this to begin with?
No, actually, Dana, I don't think it could be interpreted as being straight or not. We have to realize that we have to be humble and realize what we don't know. These are pure estimates and the calculations that I made, 70, 75%, it's a range. The range is going to be somewhere between 70 and 85%. The reason I first started saying 70, 75, I brought it up.
So he's lying because he first started saying 60 to 70. So now he's actually, again, trying to bullshit you by saying he started by saying 70 to 75, which he didn't. He started by saying 60 to 70. So he's even lying in his admittal of lying. This is the guy in charge of our health care.
85. That's not a big leap to go from 75 to 85. It was really based on calculations and pure extrapolations from measles. Measles is about 98% effective vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine is about 94, 95%. When you get below 90% of the population vaccinated with measles, you start seeing a breakthrough against the herd immunity. People starting to get infected like we saw in the upper New York State and in New York City with the Orthodox Jewish group when we had measles outbreak. So I made a calculation that COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is not as nearly as transmissible as measles. Measles is the most transmissible infection you can imagine. So I would imagine that you would need something a little bit less than the 90%. That's where I got to the 85. But I think we all have to be honest and humble. Nobody really knows for sure. But I think 70 to 85% for herd immunity for COVID-19 is a reasonable estimate. And in fact, most of my epidemiology colleagues agree with me.
Yeah, of course. Nothing is exact. I guess my question was about polling. It seemed in that quote to suggest that you were basing your recommendation on polling and what people could accept. Is that not what you meant?
No, I mean, it's a bit of that. I want to encourage the people of the...
So when he just said no, and then he immediately said yes, it's a bit of that. No, it's a bit of that. Yes, that means yes. Dr. Anthony Fauci, and I've said this on this show, I'll say it right now, is a pathological liar and should not be heading the coronavirus response. Dr. Anthony Fauci is a pathological liar. He can't do an interview where he doesn't lie. He just lied twice in one sentence. She knows he's lying. What does that look tell you? She knows he's full of shit. She's talked to people like him all her life. She knows when someone's obfuscating and bullshitting, and he is. And she knows it. That's why she asked that question a second time.
United States and globally to get vaccinated, because as many as we possibly get vaccinated will get closer to herd immunity. So the bottom line is it's a guesstimate. I gave a range, and I use any discussion like we're having now, Dana, to encourage people to get to that goal of 70 to 85% of the people vaccinated. That's where we really want to be.
Okay, and just to put a button on it, no sugarcoating, you're saying 75 to 80% is the goal, in your view, as of now, based on what you know when it comes to herd immunity, not 90%.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
What? He's saying everything. He's saying everything. I heard him say 90%. Now he's saying not 90. Now he's saying, she just said 70 to 80, and he said right. He said 85 before, and then 90, and then he first said 60 to 70, then 70 to 85, and then 90, and now she just said 70 to 80, and he said yes. He's saying everything. This guy is an incompetent, and he should not be in this position. This guy is horrible. We know that Donald Trump deliberately downplayed the coronavirus threat. You know who else did that? This fucking guy. So Trump told Bob Woodward he knew in February that COVID-19 was deadly stuff, but wanted to play it down. Guess who else wanted to play it down? Listen to this guy.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
So when he's saying this, he knows he's lying. He knows that we should be walking around with masks. He knows that, and he's lying anyway. And that guy says, everybody's listening to you. What are you saying? And he says it again. He lies. And I'm going to show you him admitting he's lying right now in the next video. But let's listen to the rest of this.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often, there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask, and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course. But when you...
So he's saying wearing a mask will make you sicker. Did you hear him just say that? Because that's what he just implied. It makes it worse. You fiddle with the mask and you get sputs inside. You heard it, right? That's a guy lying to the public knowingly. And how do I know he was lying? Jimmy, you can't make that. How do you know what's in his head? Well, here's the guy who's going to tell me what's in his head. Why did you lie and tell people not to wear masks? You want to know why? He's going to admit he lied. Here it is.
So you shouldn't discount that. Now, getting back to your first question, which was, what about a month or so or 2 or 3 ago, when people were saying, you don't really need to wear a mask?
People.
Well, the reason for that is that...
People were saying. You mean when you were saying that? This guy's a professional politician liar. This guy sounds exactly like Mitt Romney or something. This guy's a professional liar.
So you shouldn't discount that. Now, getting back to your first question, which was, what about a month or so or 2 or 3 ago, when people were saying, you don't really need to wear a mask? Well, the reason for that is that we were concerned, the public health community, and many people were saying this, were concerned that it was at a time when personal protective equipment, including the N95 masks and the surgical masks, were in very short supply. And we wanted to make sure that the people, namely the healthcare workers, who were brave enough to put themselves in harm's way to take care of people who were infected with the coronavirus and the danger of them getting infected, we did not want them to be without the equipment that they needed. So there was not enthusiasm about going out and everybody buying a mask or getting a mask. We were afraid that that would deter away from the people who really needed it.
So what he's telling you right there is, well, we were lying. Everybody was lying. We were all lying to the American people. And we all agreed that we should lie to people because we thought it would be better to risk regular people's health in order to maybe we don't even know if it would help bring masks to the frontline people in the hospitals. So we for sure put your life at risk. For sure. You went out without a mask because you listened to him. And that put your life at risk. Why? Because he wanted to save someone else's life. So he thought the best way to save someone else's life is to lie to you about what you should be doing. People could have made their own masks. This is a guy deciding how much truth you can handle and when I need to lie to you. Not how much truth you can handle, but when I need to mislead you about your health. That's a guy who's a professional liar. And everybody's letting him off the hook. I saw Crystal Ball on the Hill on Rising. She took him to the woodshed over this. Finally, someone else did. Thank God. But nobody's going to go against that guy because they're going to call you a Trump. Oh, what do you like, Trump? Now, and now people don't want to take the vaccine because they don't know who to trust. You can't trust that guy. You certainly can't trust that guy. People say you can't trust Trump. You can't trust this guy. You can't trust Trump. He'd already admitted to downplaying it when he knew it was deadly. So did he. And now he's lying to you about the vaccine. And now he's lying to you about herd immunity. He's admitting it. I'm not inferring. He's admitting he lied. Well, at first I was saying 60 to 70 because I didn't think you guys could handle it. So I was lying. But now I feel like I can maybe tell the truth about this. How do we know he's telling the truth now? How do we know he's not lying, saying 85% because of some other reason to lie? Maybe it is 60%. How can I trust him? You can't. You think that guy's Wikipedia has an entry where he was caught lying, pushing a conspiracy? That people don't need to wear masks? That's what they say Alex Jones does. This is serious. Is his YouTube channel yanked? Is his Twitter account censored? He's been lying about coronavirus. I'm not allowed to give misinformation on YouTube. They'll yank the fucking video. He's been lying this whole fucking time. This whole time. First he lied about masks. Now he's lying about herd immunity and admitting to both. And nothing happens to that guy. Nothing. And if you went out without a mask and got sick, I bet you there's a provision in the COVID relief bill that says you can't sue him or the government for that. But Trump is the big liar. It's Trump, not Joe Biden, not Fauci. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.